Suspect is in a wheelchair, heading northbound towards Abbott Boulevard. He's traveling along the Wakemon Creek at about, Jesus Christ, 80 to 81 meters per hour. We need unit fast. Repeat, we need unit fast. An excerpt from page 190 of The Seattle Fugitive by Elonzo Philip. Hello, my fellow book addict. It's quite lovely to have you all again on the show. So today's recommendation, it's a book that I just finished reading, which I found to be very wholesome and quite lovely while I read through it. It's titled The Seattle Fugitive by Elonzo Philip. And what I love to classify this book as is the fact that I love to, view it as an high school saga, and it's a book that is set in an high school. Whose characters, mostly all of the characters are high school students. We have teachers, we have students, we have school cop, we have parent, and the characters aren't that much, but the book made for an interesting discussion and an interesting read. One thing I love to point out actually when I read the book is the fact that this would actually make a good movie if it's to be adapted into a movie actually. This book, first of all, deals with the story of high school student, but the protagonist here is Jimmy. Jimmy is an high school student, lovely, dedicated, brilliant, peacemaker, and also there's something about his personality, and this actually want to get some gang to use it against him. So Jimmy is such an amazing young, lad, a high schooler who is very lovely and quite welcoming. So first of all, I want to say that I love the author's approach to the storytelling. We're being from the first part, we're introduced to Jimmy, we're introduced to Jimmy's school teachers, and I love the description of this part because some parts are quite hilarious, and that's one thing that I love about the Seattle Fugitive is the fact that along the line the author incorporated hilarious threat in the book, incorporated the theme of romance. I read of a section that relates to some of the experience I had in high school, and I was like, this is really an amazing, novel. That's why I subtitled it originally that this is an high school saga. I love to call it an high school saga because that's what I consider the book as. So the book started with Jimmy, but I love the introduction of the other characters. Talk about Jimmy teacher, people like Mrs. Wakefield, whose hilarious trait particularly stood with me because the author wrote that she always fall in those high heels she need not to wear, and that got me cracking up so much. Then we have another teacher who keeps sipping, I think, alcohol into his drink, trying to hide it from the student, but then it's very obvious and inconspicuous. Yeah, so on and on and on, we keep going on from one part to another. The author keep introducing us to the character, then we come into Jimmy's characterization itself. So, like I said, Jimmy is an high schooler, a very calm, lovely, brilliant, not making too much trouble. He has got a lot of friends. Some of them are troublemakers, some of them are calm. And then there's a particular day that a guy on a wheelchair came to the school. So everything at first was going fine. And at some point, I wanted to ask myself, that what's the essence of this novel? Since I'm just reading about high school, about the teachers, about the characterization, onto the point where I think the whole saga started. That's why I term it an high school saga. And it's very suspenseful, actually. So everything goes weird when something terrible happened to Jimmy. It's just more like every other day when from one class to change to another. So Jimmy had just finished attending one class and it's about to change to the other class. So he was waiting for 5 minutes so the next class can commence. But all of a sudden everything goes blank. I mean everything goes gloomy. Jimmy, from him waiting in his classroom for the next lecture, finds himself in a particular room, lights switched off, blood in his hand, knife in his hand, with two dead bodies lying beside him. This is where the entire story began. And this is where I sat down upright on my chair and said, okay, Let's go on. Let's ride on. So this is more like a plot actually, because we all know actually. I need to mention the fact that Jimmy Acts 2 features is a human, kind at heart, who has conscience too. But another part of him is the fact that he's a werewolf. Sometimes they tend and display this animalistic behavior that got him sometimes barbaric during the ninth month, I think, in the month of October and November, where I think the moon is out. And that actually got me thinking that that's true because most people that have mental issue, especially having to do with the drastic type, always have this features or trait heightened when it's the month of the moon. Yeah, the story was entirely centered around Jimmy, and from here, Jimmy seems to be plotted because obviously he did not kill these two people, Adam and Macy. In fact, he's entirely shocked as to even how he found himself in the room with a knife in his hand, blood all over his body, and he found himself lying down with two dead bodies. So when a particular janitor saw him in the room, he had to scream, and the scream alerted quite a lot of people. People started rushing. What's happened? Why do you scream? What happened? So the janitor was the one who alerted the other people that something has gone wrong. And when Jimmy woke up, he was dumbfounded, from being unconscious to the fact that you woke up and you find yourself amid two dead bodies, and everybody seems to be coming to you and said, "What have you done? You're a killer, murderer." So he couldn't process it because everything was happening so fast and swiftly, and the cover here. So he had to run based on the fact that number one is confused, and number two is surprised. Number three, he had no idea what has happened because he just woke up and he find himself together with dead bodies. So obviously, people would think that he killed them, whereas he did not. So from there, Jimmy ran, and the cop pursued him, but they couldn't find him actually because he was running in full speed, and with the fact that he's a werewolf. So all of this keep unfolding dramatically, keep unfolding in a scenic manner, keep unfolding in a beautiful and lovely manner, or to the point whereby Jimmy's friend came back to seek out for him. And they came asking him, "What happened really? What do you do? Did you kill those people?" And Jimmy was like, "No, how would I kill my friends? I mean, I had no issue with Adam. I have no issue with Missy." But all along the line, they keep interrogating. So they have to come together to find a way to go about it. So Jimmy began, Jimmy at first is a very smart kid, so he began to outweigh all of this, method and ask himself, what exactly happened? I never did this. Somebody framed me off. So he started a suspect from his friends, began asking them, where were you at this particular time? What were you doing at this particular time? I think he has three or four friends. So after asking them, he began to rule them out. Then he lists other 10 suspects that he think must have set him up. Part of which, are people he had issues with in school, people who do not like him, people who say they have issues or beef with either Adam or Missy, and people whom they've involved in fights with in time past. So they're just trying to weigh different options, trying from starting from his friends to the teachers to other people around, and they couldn't arrive at whoever should be responsible for this. At first, they would think maybe it's Tina, they would think maybe it's this other guy who is very wicked, and this and that. But all options keep weighing out and on until at the very spot where they were deliberating this, the police came again and tried to intervene. But this time around, Jimmy had sacked the police even before his friends, and he had to flee, running wide into the bush and surviving because he's a werewolf. So he has that trait in him to feed on fruit, drink water, and live, comfortably in the forest. Well, I would restrict from revealing more in an attempt to keep my review spoiler free, but then I love to mention the fact that I particularly love the storyline, starting from the protagonist to the characterization, to the well beautifully written plot twist, to the adventure of Jimmy having to seek out who exactly is responsible for this, Atlec's murder. Because all of this actually keep Jimmy's parent and family in disturbance. They were emotionally disturbed, not knowing where he is because he had to run away. And again, I love the introduction of Lisa, who happens to be Jimmy's friend, girlfriend actually, along the line, because when Jimmy began to express himself that he's innocent, he did not do anything, his friends began to come in terms together with him, trying to support and agree with him that he can never kill someone, never. And the fact that Jimmy began to, part of the thing actually, I need to mention this, part of the things that Jimmy spotted out is the fact that whoever did this to him must first know that number one is a werewolf, must have a beef with him, must have this and that. So he was trying to weigh out all of these options together, from the first option to the second one to the third to the fourth, and the whole story keep going in an amazing manner, like you're watching a movie. It's a saga full of suspense. And at some point, even when I wanted to guess what, there are some novels that you can easily guess what is going to become the next chapter, what's going to come up of this particular character stuff. This is very difficult to guess because at some point when I said, okay, this is going to be what is going to happen, I'm surprised again by another out turn, and as if every flipping of the pages keep putting you into suspense and you wanted to find more and more. This is actually an amazing novel and it's amazingly written, and I'm so intrigued by Elonzo Philip's craft, despite the fact that he's very young. Yeah, I need to mention that. It's very beautiful. Talk about the characterization, it's awesome. Talk about the storytelling techniques, which I find to be quite captivating. I mean, the story is well written. Even the fact that it's written in the first person narrator's point of view, with Jimmy, the protagonist, people the one telling the story. It's amazing, really. It's very amazing. I'm touching on the themes of friendship, touching on the theme of family dynamics, friendship too. Talking on the theme of thrillers, high school murder, and quite a lot, a bit of romance in it, and it's quite beautiful, really. It's quite beautiful. And in an attempt to keep this review spoiler free, I wouldn't love to talk more about it, but then I would like you to find out how exactly did Jimmy come back to limelight? Would he serve jail term over a crime he did not commit? Will he serve jail terms over a crime he knows nothing about? Will he find people or the one who set him up? Funny enough, on every part, whenever it looks as if they're gonna find the cause of this person or whoever set this thing up, everything begins to get naughty and hard along the line. Oh wow. I love the introduction of Manuel being the suspect and the problem that Manuel had to pass through. I felt pity for him. That's why I had to recite a particular section in the book, which I derived from page 190, which happens to be my favorite. That was where Manuel, even though he was on wheelchair, was able to climb the fence and run away from the cop, knowing that they came to his house, and eventually had nothing to do with the death of Adam and Missy. He was just running because he was afraid and scared of the cop. And he was running in highway. I want to say I love the description of the run in highway. It was that's why I read it was running in 80 to 81 meter per hour, even on wheelchair. Jim was like, how could he do that? At some point, whenever he get tired, he switched to moving vehicles, hold it, and the wheel keep on going. So sometimes the police who is running after him or is chasing him was stuck in traffic, and that made Manuel to take advantage of that. It's just such an amazing roller coaster. And the part of the police chasing or pursuing Manuel is my favorite part in the novel because I was like, oh my goodness, go, 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 let's go, let's go. So it's quite surprising and suspicious that sometimes you wanted to ask that how could someone who uses a wheelchair kill people? How was he able to say perhaps drop Jimmy from his first class to another one? And I love the suspense actually. I love Jimmy's suspect techniques. I love the people he suspected and the trick they had in him for him to be able to figure them out and say, okay, this will be a likely suspect. So it's just amazingly written actually. It's beautiful. I love it wholeheartedly. And I love a little, suspense and the romance in it when Jimmy had to go back to his school dressed as a janitor in order to investigate all of this issue himself. I don't want to give much away, but I'm gonna have to stop here. But then this is such an amazing written novel. I love it wholeheartedly. And if you're a fan of crime thriller, if you're a crime of murder thriller, if you're a crime of suspense novel, fan of an high school thriller with a little blend actually of romance, and but then it's very suspenseful. I can say that over and over again. It is very suspenseful. It is captivating. It's absorbing because I think I had to finish it in 2 or 3 days actually. Because I was like, oh no, I need to finish this novel because it's more like I'm watching a movie. Yeah, I need to mention the fact that it is very scenic. It is scenic in nature. Also, Philip did an amazing job, and I so much recommend this book. And I gave it a 5 over 5 star rating. Well written, brilliantly plotted, amazingly done. And I so much recommend this book to lovers of thrillers and literature at large. So if you'd like to get a copy of The C2 Fugitive, I left a link in the description part of this review where you can get a copy directly on Amazon. I also left a link to other websites, of the author, of the book, where you can get to read more about the book, etc. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching this review. And we are running so close into 10,000 subscribers. It's been 3.5 years coming. I'm so appreciative of everyone who has taken their time to watch these video reviews and interviews, who has subscribed to the channel, who has liked, who has left a comment. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. So this is going to be my short take on the C2 Fugitive. Suspenseful, scenic in nature. And I think this book will make a fortune actually if it's been adapted for a movie production, especially what I love particularly is a part where Manwa is running away from the police. It's as if I'm watching a movie. It's so beautiful to paint that image and scene in your head as you read along. It looks as if you're watching a screen in front of you, but everything is displayed in literature and text manner. Yeah, so thank you very much for watching my short video book review of The City Fugitive by Elonzo Philip. Thank you and see you in my next video. Goodbye.